Valhalla just got the biggest update since launch, and not only in terms of size, because you will have to download a good portion of the game again. It's even more on other platforms, but in the end you will actually save some space on your console or PC, so that's actually great. Don't worry, by the way, just download the patch like you normally would and you are able to play. Nothing else is needed. The big thing they added is of course the Kassandra crossover content. If you have a settlement on level 4 and build the Sears hut, then you will immediately get a notification once you boot the game up saying that you should check on that Sears hut, and next to it you will find Edith, who will tell you about issues on the Isle of Skye, and after the conversation with Falca as well, you can immediately travel to this brand new free island we can explore. And of course, at any point you can return to the previous areas via the Atlas. So everything on this new island can be completed in any order, so you can just focus on the wealth and the mysteries and the other dots before continuing with the main story. And maybe you want to do that because you can find some really cool new items on this island, namely the hero sword and the spear of Leonidas from Odyssey. It's not broken and actually glowing. I really like this weapon. You find the sword over here on the island in a wealth chest, and another wealth chest on the Isle of Skye gives you the spear, and that's over here. You can already check a video on these weapons on my second channel, Assassins Raptor. I will leave a link to it in the pinned comment. But we will also go way more in depth on it on the main channel very soon, just like the other items you can find in this DLC. But the main thing is of course that we get to meet Kassandra, but I will let you figure out the rest yourself. If you somehow missed the news, Assassin's Creed Odyssey also got a big update with also a new island and story missions. And if you are able to play both, then I would suggest that you play the Odyssey content first, as that of course takes place before the interaction between Eivor and Kassandra. We will do a big video on the Odyssey update as well. Maybe it's already up by the time you watch this. Then you will also find a link in the pinned comment. Now let's focus on a ton of the other things that we got in this patch. And of course, if you like the video so far and enjoy the Valhalla content here on the channel, then leaving a like would really help me out, and subscribe to be up to date on everything Assassin's Creed. Maybe you already noticed the brand new skill notes when booting up the update for the first time. They namely added stat bonuses for weapons that first did not get as much love as others. Spears and swords already had 5 notes, and now all the other weapons with this update are up to 5 as well, including the 3 bows. And this raises the max power level cap from 469 to 476. And you can of course easily get those extra skill points by just playing through the new content, or you could buy some skill points at a merchant when you are at settlement level 6. Another thing you will notice when checking the transmog options at the blacksmith is that you will now see all your gear items show up that first were not in the menu because of an invisible cap. Well, now they upped that cap to 200 items. So now recently released gear like the Fallen Hero armor and also the Elderman armor from the Discovery Tour can now finally be selected. And there is, by the way, something interesting going on with both armor sets. Ubisoft namely notes that the CX on the Elderman outfit could disappear randomly when equipping different weapons. So then it just did not show up on the armor anymore, but when you then switch the weapon, it would come back. Well, now the dagger will just always stay there. And if you love to rock the Fallen Hero armor set like me, you of course get these from the recently added Tombs of the Fallen. Well, good news, because the helmet now stays on when you got your hood on. It looks really awesome. I think this was always the intention, but a bug caused some issues. So yeah, I will totally be rocking the armor like this. Although, of course, if you prefer Eivor's face, then you can just, like, unshow the helmet in the inventory and have it like it was before. And again, the Elderman armor is a reward from doing the first quest of the Discovery Tour. So very easy to get it. And in the Discovery Tour, some people had issues with the first-person view. Ubisoft now removed the close camera options from the menu, so hopefully that fixed it. For us, the first-person view already worked before the update, but don't let me know if you still have issues right now. And I will look at some brand new options they added for the difficulties in a moment. Let's first touch on a nerf for the Plague of Rats ability. It namely did higher damage than intended to some bosses. So this is before the update, nuking a lot of the health bar from this French noble with just one shot. And now after the update, still the use of 1 adrenaline bar. It's still pretty powerful, but if we compare the 2 health bars after 1 ability use, you totally see that after the patch, it deals a little less damage. And we got more interesting changes. First of all, crit chance runes are significantly buffed. They first only gave 3.3 crit chance, but now 10 per rune, which is kinda wild. And also on the Paris rune, which also gives speed, the crit chance was first 2, but now it's 6. So we're seeing a 300 increase for crit chance runes across the board. The other runes remain the same, but they did up the amount of runes you can view in your inventory to 1200, which in my case just means way more scrolling and scrolling before I get to the rune I want. Really hope that at one point when I select a different slot on a weapon, I do not have to scroll again, but I digress. So they also adjusted balancing for melee damage scaling, ranged damage scaling, critical strike chance skills, and the runes of the finesse critical chance. So yeah, touched on this already. We want to test this a bit more, but seems like they made some nice improvements, which seem to be for the best, so that's great. They also say that they made some stealth improvements, resolved some issues that caused players to be instantly detected when they should not have been, but still during the mastery challenges we have some issues here. Maybe we need to test it a bit more, but doesn't seem like immediately fixed. And they also note that they reduced the hold time and speed restriction when blending with crowds. You saw what it was before the update, and now after it's the same. So maybe you noticed any changes, maybe something is weird in our settings. Of course, drop it down in the comments down below. And speaking of stealth, they added new options so we can customize our stealth experience a bit more. First we had presets per difficulty, but now you can change them to your own desire. Some are for combat as well. Brand new is the fact that you can tweak the brush with depth timing and duration, which wasn't possible before. So if you want like a really long slow motion after a dodge, you can do that now, 2.5 seconds. And if you want your exploration to be more immersive, you can now limit the exploration beams and turn on the unguided objectives, which is perfect for if you want a less guided experience, for example during the new content on the new Isle of Skye. There was an issue where an adrenaline bar would not fill after a second chain assassination when hitting the shield or the back of an enemy. Well, as you see right here, we do get the adrenaline back. And there was also an issue where if you would turn off the abilities and adrenaline HUDs in the options, your rations, health and stamina bar would be gone too, as you see right here. But now after the update, when also aiming, we see everything except for the adrenaline, so it's working as intended. And of course, if you found any changes that I did not touch on in this video, but that Ubisoft did implement with the patch, then totally let me know in the comments down below. We'll then highlight it in a future secret changes video, and of course shout you out if I use your information. There is more, by the way, because this Thursday, December 16th, the Yule Festival is back, and even if you've played it last year around this time, Ubisoft notes that partaking in the festivities will get you all new items, including, but not limited to, a snowy beard and hair and settlement decorations. So yeah, we'll be streaming it when it goes live. Just subscribe to miss nothing if you haven't already. A like on the video would really help me out, and if that Odyssey video is already up, they can watch it by clicking on the screen. Otherwise, you will see a different video for the time being. For now though, I will speak to you in the next one. Goodbye.